To many people, the Earth looks extremely old.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Earth is still a totally banging hot piece of planetary ass, if you ask me. Would smash with a meteorite again. It worked to get rid of those last assholes who pissed me off. I bet it would work again.
Not thousands of years old, but billions of years old.
Can anyone really discern how old it looks? I don't think that's how anyone would actually put it. I think what you mean to say is that evidence points to it being really goddamn old. Its actual age is not something that you would be able to have any idea of in any specific measurement by simply looking at it. Only flat earthers and other assorted idiots think that you can know all the facts about something by merely pointing your peepers at it.
When these individuals hear a creationist like myself talk about a young Earth that's thousands of years old,
they think, holy shit, what an idiot, believing the words of some book written by people who had no idea how old the Earth was and so made some shit up. Although, to be fair, the fact of the matter is they never really even hazarded a guess. I would imagine on purpose, because even they weren't dumb enough to assume they could guess. Unfortunately, they screwed up by having various events happen in various timescales that some assholes came along, timelined, and then assumed that that must be the true of how the universe do. I'll hint, it don't.
They wonder how someone could believe such.
Oh, there's very little to wonder. I assume that you were told by someone who you think wouldn't lie to you, and then you believed it. End of story. I mean, not the total end. I'm sure you spend a lot of time justifying that belief, if only to yourself, and that you spend the rest of the time covering your ears and screaming God did it over and over whenever anybody points out the flaws in the idea. But yeah, I can totally see how someone would believe it. I just don't understand why God made you so dumb. Seems deliberately cruel.
How could anyone look at Earth and think it was created less than 10,000 years ago?
Again, I really don't think that any sensible person is just looking at the Earth to find that out. In fact, I would imagine until we figured that shit out, even the smartest people alive had little to no idea exactly how old the Earth was, with the best evidence being things like tree rings, which would have given a few thousand years on the high end, but with a big old question mark to the maximum. So yeah, stop using your eyes and start using science. Maybe you'll sound less like an idiot.
First, even if people didn't always have old Earth impressions,
did they always have that? I mean, I looked to the Greeks for attempts at various science before they had the ability to actually get them done, either at all or with near perfect accuracy, because they did manage quite a few things. But on the age of the Earth, Herodotus dated the age of the Earth using the rate of growth he observed in the Nile Delta, concluding that the Earth was several thousand years old. He was wrong, but he certainly didn't guess it was billions of years old cause eyes though. He actually tried to figure it out with observations and inference. Not the same thing.
The man-made theory of evolution demands such an interpretation of our planet.
What? What are you talking about? No, it doesn't. It doesn't demand anything. And you know that biblical literalism is as man-made as any scientific conclusion. It's just one is based on evidence and the other is based on wanting to be best friends with the most special person ever so that you can be just as special by proxy. Not to mention, evolution doesn't have anything to say about the age of the Earth. All it says is that things change over time. And the observations that the Earth is very old bear that out at the same time. These things do support each other, unlike how nothing but the Bible supports the Bible.
Else the entire theory of evolution would have to be abandoned.
Even if the age of the Earth thing were true, absolutely not. That's not how science works. We don't simply abandon theories because one part of it doesn't line up quite right. If the age of the Earth turned out to be young, but nothing else changed, then all the other things that demonstrate that evolution is true and have not changed, well, the only thing we could conclude at that point is likely that the change that occurs is probably a lot faster than we thought. It takes a lot more than one thing not being how we thought it was for something so well understood to simply go away. Almost every little thing in the Bible has been proven false, and yet you still bandy it about like a science book. If you were honest, you would have chucked that thing in the bin a long time ago.
Now, the fact is, evolution should be abandoned anyway, since it's impossible.
Impossible? Weird that, seeing as it literally happens all the time. Must be a miracle from God or some shit. Although your reasoning for thinking something is impossible, well, my guess is it's something really stupid, and the fact that you think impossible things happen all the time anyway, your standard for that is, well, easily ignored. And that's not to mention what's the betting he's not going to explain why it's impossible.
Whether the Earth is young or old.
It's old. I should know. I was there at the very start. And look, I'm sorry. I had no idea pooping into the ocean would cause so many goddamn problems. Although it does explain why humans evolved to be so shit.
What's more, many dating methods exist that point to a young Earth.
Many? I look forward to hearing this, my dude. I bet it's things that don't go beyond a certain time frame, and if they do, they must be fake science. Because science only gets to be science if it agrees with my preconceived notions. I think that's why his lot think that we assume the Earth is old, and don't understand that that is literally the opposite of how it's done.
They just get ignored by most people.
So that means one of two things. They are wrong and thus don't have any utility, or again, they only go up to a certain amount so we can't get the full picture. A bit like saying this is just some blinking coloured light when it's actually a screen. Like the old saying goes, not seeing the forest for the goddamn floor, you drunk bastard.
No doubt, since evolutionary theory demands an old Earth.
Again, it doesn't. It doesn't care. It's an explanation of the facts we see about how life changes. And even if you wanted to say the actual thing, geology, demands an old Earth, because, you know, that's the science that actually studies the fucking thing, it still wouldn't be right, because, again, it's just saying what the evidence has shown. Its conclusions aren't made up and then looked for. They are come to in order to explain the things we see, something that the Bible literally is incapable of doing for some reason.
It should come as no surprise that many people can't help but see the Earth as being billions of years old.
I reckon I know why you're doing this seeing thing. It's kind of your way of poisoning the well. They see it as old because they say it's old, so they see it as old. But that's not how it works. Now, sure, some people will defer to the scientific explanations, but that doesn't somehow make that explanation wrong. It's deferred to because it has merit and because it works. Other things, well, don't.
But define old.
Ideas about the world that were created by people who had no concept of the scale of time. Those are pretty fucking old, and more importantly, out of date by a couple of thousand years at least. Maybe you should, stop believing them, at least until they've been updated with new information. Oh, that's right, you can't do that, and that's why as long as you cling to them like that, you will always be wrong.
How does anyone actually know what a billion-year-old Earth looks like?
You know, it just occurred to me that you never did tell us your definitely real dating methods that totally prove the Earth am young guy, or how an old Earth is totally impossible. Assertions without evidence. What a surprise. Almost like you know, assuming you actually have any. If you actually did say them, people will check and figure out you are full of shit. Not that they need to, but yeah. Also, a billion-year-old Earth probably looks similar to how it does now, except the evidence for its age will be different because, again, we don't look at things to prove them, we science at them.
Older humans can be identified accurately as old because their actual birth dates can be known.
And no other ways. There's certainly no way to have a good estimate of someone's age based on skin tautness or body posture or various conditions that appear later in life. No, the only possible way to know someone is old is by having their birth certificate. Fuck me, you really are an unbelievable fool.
That is, people witnessed their births and gave them birth certificates.
These two people are exactly 37 years old according to the birth certificates I forged. No other way to tell one is significantly older than the other, and that's a hashtag fact. Cause seriously, a birth certificate that gives their exact age, okay, but that's not what you said. You said we can know they are old, and well, okay, it's not 100% accurate. I could give you 1,000 pictures and you would almost certainly be able to judge more than about 50% of them as above or below, say, 50 years old, and that's probably way higher. And that's just way beyond guessing, you frickin' goof.
A person's age might also be reasonably estimated because their appearance can be compared to both older and younger people.
Oh hey, so he did know about that. Great. But to take the opposite tack, again, it's not 100% accurate since you can look real old when you are young, and some old folks look phenomenal for their age, let alone the existence of plastic surgeries that, if done subtly at least, can strip decades off people's appearances. But what we can do is analyze their bodies for things like cellular decay and check them for diseases that are more likely in someone of an older generation. Things that can only be done using science. The same scientific method that brought you things like the age of the Earth and the fact that evolution is a fact. I thought I would get in early in case he decides to do a big hypocrisy at us.
The same thing can be said for animals and plants.
Animals, maybe, but plants? Are you fucking serious? No, you can't. Certainly not with the comparing two of them thing. That depends entirely on their location and growing conditions and how much care it's had, and hell, they can even seem to be dead and then be revived. And that's not to mention the fact that the idea of an old tree kinda isn't a thing. I mean, yeah, in comparison to us, but all old really means in tree terms is bigger, because they just don't work like animals.
People can know exactly when various animals were born or when a tree was planted.
I knew it, although he's not going to come out and say it. That's just the science way of doing it. We know those things through study, not through anything so arbitrary as just looking at it. And certainly, comparatively few trees have absolute known plant dates, since they have this really bad habit of, planting themselves.
But what about the Earth as a whole?
Yes, absolutely, we can do that. It's been done for ages, and the only way you can even begin to claim it hasn't is to simply state that all the scientists who have been working on that shit all these years, you just call them liars and idiots, which frankly would be projection of the highest order coming from a fucking creationist.
No one was alive when this or any other planet was born.
You just said that's not the only way to figure it out. Or let me guess, we can only know the age of something by comparison, when you're still fucked, because we do that as well. You know that dating methods aren't guesses, right? Dating methods have been calibrated against things of known age. We know they work. We know they are accurate, and we can build up from there.
No one was present on Earth to see the first rock formed, hill raised, or canyon created.
Okay, I know that at some point he's going to go with, but God was there. Great, cool, awesome to know. But who exactly can corroborate that? What's that? No one? I don't believe it. It's almost like it's a made-up story. And not even the evidence, which appears to be pointing at old, can agree with this obviously true story that is true.
How can anyone reasonably say the Earth looks billions of years old?
No one fucking does that. There is not a single scientific textbook or scientificarizer that says we know the Earth is old because look at it and its oldness. In fact, I would imagine until the age of the Earth / the universe was discovered, no one came close to the idea that it would be so freaking old, because it's the kind of number that you can't really wrap your head around. It's just so big. But there we go. That also plays into the fact that the Bible was written by people, because if they really had godlike foresight, billions of years is actually the kind of number that feels more godlike than a couple of minutes ago in the cosmological time scale.
Old compared to what?
Compared to my dick. Wait, I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. Makes me kind of sound like I have a baby dick. Shit.
People who contend that the Earth appears billions of years old must also discount the very real possibility that one or more great catastrophes could have occurred in the past to drastically change the appearance of the Earth.
We don't do it based on appearance, you colossal fucking dunce cap. How many times do I have to say this? And catastrophes don't tend to change things like the fucking half-life of radioactive isotopes. Not to mention the fact that you can't just claim that as proof that something is wrong with absolutely zero evidence for the idea itself. Yes, things can change, but things also stay very much the same. And unless you have some reason for that to be true that isn't because I want to be right, then you need to shut the fuck up.
Earthquakes, volcanoes, and local floods radically alter the looks of certain places on Earth.
Oh no, what an excellent and not completely stupid point. Geologists have never considered the things they fucking study all the time. See, I told you they think everyone else is the idiot while they say and do things that no reasonable person with a functioning brain would ever even consider.
Consider how a tree that has been struck by lightning or damaged during a flood might appear much older than it is.
Oh my god. I feel like I'm being pranked. You think that a random external force acting on a tree is comparable to the normal processes that happen on a planet like Earth? And that again, we still wouldn't guess the age of that tree based on being kinda dead looking. Because trees die at literally any point in their life. Its death has nothing to do with its age. Holy shit, I can't do this anymore. You are getting too stupid for even me to cope with. Christ.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the